So I get the feeling that people are getting either A, anxious, B, restless, C, bored, B, no, we've done that letter, D, agitated because of this self-quarantine, because of this self-isolation. And it looks like this is going to last for a long, long time. But if you're a yogi, you have a certain amount of practices to bolster your immune system and make you feel really, really good inside, even as we go through self-quarantine. So I'm going to talk today about why self-quarantine doesn't matter a drop to a yogi. I think we're at a really interesting time, and I sometimes think in my head, is this the time where yoga becomes big? Because people now have this amount of time on their own, most of them out of work, right? We're sat alone in our living rooms, and there's only so much Netflix can do for us, right? There's only so many YouTube videos we can watch before we realise I'm becoming stale. I'm rotting like the bread is downstairs, if you can get your hands on any, that means, because in England it's all run out by the looks of it. I haven't had bread in about a week. So, self-quarantine. We're all noticing for sure that we're one consciousness here, right? Because we're all the same consciousness, the same blank slate that's looking out onto our TV screens, or that's looking down at our knees while we sit on our sofa, because we're all in the same position. We're all sat in our living rooms or in our beds, in the same situation. Nobody's going outside. All right, some people are, and that's fine, for a bit of exercise and that, but nobody's socialising because we've been asked to social distance. And this is when yoga becomes really important. The first line of the Bhagavad Gita is like the Bible for yoga, right? It says, and now yoga, meaning yoga's the final step. Everybody exhausts everything else. Look, we're all searching for more inside of our consciousness, aren't we? We're all searching for more. And that's why when we're asked to social distance, usually we get our more from socialising. Oh, we'll just go down the pub. Oh, we'll go down the Hungry Horse for a meal with our mates. Let's go for some chicken wings or even whatever. Or some vegan chicken wings, some collie wings, depending on which way you're based. And because now we're being asked to social distance, that need for more inside of ourselves is creating a restlessness, because we're all intelligent enough to see that Netflix only has 5 good series on it. And we've exhausted them all in the first 5 days of quarantine, right? So there's becoming a restless feeling, there's becoming an anxiousness, I'm a bit worried that I might have to do this for 3 months, and I feel like this is a great opportunity to open that first page of the Bhagavad Gita and realise, my search for more ends here, with yoga. I don't want to be that guy that, has this worldview that's like end times, because it isn't. But what if this is the end time for the ego? What if God or consciousness or the world has created this experience so that we're all self-isolating, so that we have to face our shadow sides or our egos? We have to face, after we've exhausted all of the other things we do to keep ourselves occupied, like our phone. Oh gosh, I'll just go on TikTok. Great, but there's only so many TikToks before we realise I've just lost 20 minutes of my life on this silly app. I sound like a crazy scientist, don't I? So what can we do? Being a yogi, I've done lots of yoga over the last 5 years since an awakening experience has happened. We call these practices that we do in yoga, we call it sadhana. Sadhana just means your daily spiritual practice to bring about the highest amount of aliveness and intensity of energy in the system. And it's why sometimes you might see me, once in a while, with a bit of a crackhead energy on here, because I've been doing my practices and because they feel so amazing. Now, if we're in quarantine and we're feeling a bit stale, a bit stagnant, we've been laying on the sofa in this one position for long enough, the mind can sometimes then go, well, we'll just get drunk. Or, well, we'll just go and eat Chinese food, whatever, chicken, vegetable, chow mein, or whatever it is that we do in our lives, right? We can get a bit stale, and then the addicted mind comes back in. And what the sadhana's doing, our daily spiritual practice, which if you don't have any, and now seems like the best time to pick it up if you want it, you can do so down below in the one-to-one coaching. Though I see sometimes the one-to-one coaching isn't for everyone, you know, because it's one-to-one. That could be a bit scary sometimes. And also it's less affordable because you're paying for my time one-to-one. So what I want to do, because we're all in quarantine, is, and because the feeling's here to do it, because it's coming out of my mouth, I didn't plan this, is to create a group call. I'm going to make them as affordable as possible because I know that people out there are losing their jobs and it's a scary time. And though the UK is backing everyone with a guarantee for 80% of their wage, which is great, if anything, our government's a Conservative government and they're starting to sound like a Labour government. Those of you in the US and that probably won't understand what I'm talking about, but the UK might, which is great, I find. Anyway, let's not get political, because I do love some of the things that the Conservatives do. We can do some sadhana to create a higher energy state. We notice when our energy's low on that 5th episode of You on Netflix, or we notice when our energy's high on the 1st episode of a new Netflix show that we've just realised, oh my god, I love this, let me binge it. But we can create this energy without anything externally. 1 beer, energy's high, oh gosh, yes, I love Quarantine, but 6 beers in and we're like, oh god, why did I do that? We can create this high energy state of being without outside influences, and we call this sadhana. So I'm going to start opening up some very affordable group calls. It's probably going to be an 8-week thing, because I think that's how long this quarantine will last, and we'll have a call every week, and I'll give you daily videos behind the scenes to do some yoga, the sadhana that we're trying to, that I want you to do, if you're open to it, of course, your choice. This will keep you busy, and this will, by the end of the time that you've finished your quarantine, you'll come out of it a new person, like, wow, who am I? I feel great. What is this crackhead energy that I've got inside of me? I feel so young and alive and wonderful. So that's going to be down there, down below. You can sign up should you wish. There'll be an early bird offer for people that sign up early. So why is quarantine such a good thing for a yogi? Well, because a yogi is one. Yoga just means union. And what does that mean? Well, union means to unify, right? To unify oneself. We say, you know, we notice inside of ourselves this ego. This one in the mind, the negative voice that likes to separate us, to create a separate identity in the mind that makes us feel crap about ourselves, that makes us feel restless, that feel fearful about coronavirus, feel all of these nasty things. That's separating one. So what yoga does is it creates union, meaning it unifies that separating one in the mind into the beingness that we are, so that this one in the mind doesn't exist anymore. At least at the start, because I still have an ego, you know, sometimes you'll hear it in my videos, it'll pop out. But, you know, we're still going to have an ego. But for the most part, it relaxes that fearful, constant rah in the mind. And that's why yoga's called, means union. We're unifying that one, that separating one in the mind, into the feeling of who we are. And that's what the sadhana does over time. With consistent practice, we begin to unify and realize, oh wow, I'm this wonderful feeling inside. I'm not the mind. So because we're in quarantine, for a yogi, this is a great opportunity to really connect with ourselves, to really create some good change, create some good shifts, because we now have 2 months, maybe 3 months, where we're going to be isolated. Now we can be fearful about that and be restless and say, I want my friends, and then create selfish actions and go out and potentially, if you're young, give, well, let's not go there, but we can do selfish actions if we feel isolated and caged and like a prisoner. That's a choice, right? Or we can do the best thing for ourselves and the people around us, and that's step up. to step up to the plate and create revolutionary change inside of ourselves so that we feel amazing, so that we come out of this isolation, this quarantine, a new person, somebody that's more self-confident with higher self-esteem, because for a while we've not had these people on the outside telling us we're not good enough. We've just created that good enough feeling inside with the sadhana. This is why quarantine is the best thing that ever happened to any yogi, because we get to dive deeper into our practice. We get to connect truly and deeply with ourselves, because it's the only thing that's going to stop that restlessness. And so, if you also feel like what the Bhagavad Gita is trying to say at the start, ... I've run out of things to do to make me feel good, now I feel crap, let's try yoga. If you feel that way, then down below you can sign up for 1, a free breathing practice that's free. It will sign you up to an email list. 2, if you're going through an awakening experience and you don't know what's going on inside of you, you're more than welcome to sign up down below for a free community of other people that are going through exactly the same thing. And may I say thank you to those that are on that group. You're beautiful and I love you, and I love how much you give and support, and it's lovely. 3, you can sign up preliminarily for the group calls, the quarantine group calls that hopefully I'm going to start doing if we get enough people that are interested. And 4, one-to-one coaching should you wish. It's all down below for you. I hope this helps. Don't let fear consume you. Don't let anxiety, restlessness, boredom consume you in this quarantine, because we have an opportunity to really do some good, deep work for those that are ready and for those that are focused. Some, most, aren't ready for that, and that's okay. But if you are ready and you can feel that inner purge, that inner calling to search for more, then we can do that in our quarantine period through our practices. And that's why it's great to be a yogi, because we're unaffected by the external world's changes. Yeah, we might get sick. Can't say that we won't. Might get sick, but even in our sickness, we're still going into our practices and changing and transforming and becoming more and more beautiful and more attractive to be with. Why? Not externally, although yoga will do a lot externally if you don't eat lots like I do. You've got these chubby cheeks somewhere, right? But we're becoming more attractive and more beautiful on the inside. That beauty that's impersonal, that we're connecting with, that we're unifying with through the practice of yoga. I send you all of my love in this quarantine period, and hopefully you're able to cultivate this nice high energy, this good state of being with the proper practices in your life. And